Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of my 2 Cents Tuesdays from your boy, the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I've got a classic fragrance that I'm going to talk about today with you guys. I think it's one that you want to hear about, so let's go ahead and get into it, why don't we? Let's go. What's going on, YouTube? My name is Darian, and I am the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I love looking good, and I love to smell even better. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of my 2 Cents Tuesdays. If you guys are unfamiliar with my 2 Cents Tuesdays is here, on my 2 Cents Tuesdays, I like to talk about a fragrance that has A, either been out for a long time, or B, has already gotten a lot of reviews out in the YouTube community. Today is going to be the former. This fragrance was released in the year of 2000. And although it was released a long time ago, I haven't seen a lot of fragrance reviews on this one, at least not in the more recent history. Today I want to talk to you guys about a fragrance that is very, very, very polarizing. I'm talking about a fragrance from the house of Frederic Malle. But over the last couple years, it seems to me the momentum on this fragrance has died down. And that's the case a lot of time with a fragrance that's been out for a long time. Of course, new things come along, and some of the oldies but goodies seem to kind of fall on the back burner, and people don't really talk about them as much. But again, I wanted to talk about this fragrance because it's such, in my opinion, a very, very, very polarizing fragrance. There doesn't seem to be a lot of middle ground when talking about Musc Ravageur. You have your people that love it, and you seem to have your people that hate it, and for different reasons. But again, it doesn't seem to be a lot of middle ground with this fragrance. You're either on one end of the spectrum or the other. I personally am on the love end of the spectrum, and I'm going to tell you a little bit why. First and foremost, it opens up with notes of bergamot and lavender. And to be honest with you, I only picked those notes up, the lavender and the bergamot, for a very short time period in the opening of this fragrance. From opening really, first couple seconds of spraying is from the opening really to the close. To me, this fragrance is really, really dominated by the note of clove and cinnamon. Especially the cinnamon. Now to me, the cloves is really what turns some people off from this particular fragrance. Cloves is one of those notes that can really, really make and sometimes really, really, really break a fragrance as far as the note breakdown and how that fragrance comes across. And for a lot of people, the cloves kind of give this one a somewhat to some degree kind of medicinal appeal. It comes off to some people, as I've heard people even say that it smells like pee. And I don't quite get that, to be honest with you. In the opening of this, I can kind of see where people would draw that reference. I guess if you look at it that way, it can kind of give off the cloves, kind of give off that vibe or that appeal. But the opening is the most challenging part of this fragrance, but I personally happen to enjoy it because even though you kind of get that medicinal effect from the cloves, the cinnamon to me really saves the day. So the heart notes, of course, cloves and cinnamon come in really shortly after you spray it. And they hang around pretty much for the duration of the fragrance. Now, after about the first hour or so, those cloves are going to really subside, but the cinnamon is still very, very prominent in this fragrance. And then it starts to blend with more gourmand notes. And as you will find, if you really do a little bit of research on this fragrance, that's the part that people really love about this fragrance. That's what I love about this. Now, so the cinnamon starts to combine with a very, very rich and creamy sandalwood and also vanilla. Now, at this point, I start to draw comparisons to another fragrance. So if you've never smelled this, fragrance, it puts me in the mindset, once the cloves subside, it puts me in the mindset of Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. Now, Tobacco Vanille is sweeter. The vanilla is a little bit sweeter in this because, of course, this fragrance, as the name indicates, has a very musky undertone that is absent from Tobacco Vanille, but there are points that these two fragrances really, really resemble one another. And so, if you smell Tobacco Vanille, you can kind of get an idea for what this starts to smell like at about the hour mark on the dry down. Now again, so it combines, the cinnamon combines with the sandalwood, some cedarwood, some gaiac wood, and also the vanilla. So it starts to really give that kind of a gourmand vibe, and that's the beauty of this particular composition. It develops really well from opening to close, and when you get to the dry down, it starts to smell like, get this, a Cinnabon. So if you've ever visited a Cinnabon and you're standing there and you're waiting in line to get your Cinnabon, this is kind of what you start to get on the dry down in this fragrance. And in my humble opinion, it is to die for. So this fragrance right now retails for this size bottle that I have, the 50 ml. It retails for about $195, and the 100 ml retails for $290. Now, in my humble opinion, this is all you need, because just like Tobacco Vanille, this thing performs beast mode. So you get 9+ hours of performance. It's really going to project and really jump off the skin for about the first 3 hours, and then it starts to kind of dry down, but it's going to stick around, as I said again, for 9+ hours. This is definitely a try before you buy, because again, it's very polarizing. You're probably going to fall on one end of the spectrum. You're probably going to love it, or either you're going to hate it. Again, personally, I love it. So if I would really recommend, again, if you want to try this fragrance, that you definitely get a sample of it first, whether you buy a sample or you go into a Neiman Marcus or wherever, whatever's closest to you, and you have a chance to smell this, smell it. And I would recommend spraying it on your skin and waiting about an hour to really find out your true feelings about this fragrance. But in my opinion, it was talked about a lot when it first came out, and with good reason. Okay guys, that's my time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of my 2 Cents Tuesdays. I'm your boy, the BowTie Fragrance Guy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and of course share my videos. Now, why would you do that? Because I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you, on the flip side. Peace.